Chapter 7 Indian Economy. Meaning of growth and development. A country's economic growth is usually measured by national income, indicated by gross domestic product. The GDP is the total monetary value of the goods and services produced by that country over a specific period of time, usually 1 year. Okay, how we can calculate that national income through the GDP, that is gross domestic product. Gross domestic product means how much commodities we are producing within our country. Okay, that time we have to take that specific time period, that is usually 1 year. The level economic development is indicated not just by GDP but by an increase in citizens' quality of life or well-being. Okay, we can calculate through the GDP. Not only GDP, we can find out that citizens' quality of life or well-being. The quality of life is being assessed by several indices such as Human Development Index, that is HDI. Next one is that Physical Quality of Life Index and the National Happiness Index. Okay, first one is Human Development Index, next one is Quality of Life Index and the National Happiness Index. Now we can see the Gross National Happiness Index, that is GNHI. The term Gross National Happiness was coined by the fourth king of Bhutan, that is Jigme Singye Wangchuk in 1972. It is an indicator of progress which measures sustainable development, environmental conservation, promotion of culture and good governance. Okay, here when it was introduced in the year 1972, okay, what is the main motive? To sustainable development of environmental conservation, promotion of culture and good governance. On the basis of the level of economic development, nations are classified as developed and developing economies. Okay, the nations are divided into two. One is developed, next one is developing. Developed economies are those countries which are industrialized, utilize the resources efficiently and have higher per capita income. Okay, developed economies. Developed economies means that time they will have more amount of income. Okay, the USA, Canada, UK, France and Japan are some of the developed economies. Okay, these countries are the developed economies. Developed economies are also termed as advanced countries. On the other hand, countries which have not fully utilized the resources like land, mines, workers, etc. Okay, here these resources are not fully utilized, that is land, mines, workers, etc. and have low per capita income are termed as underdeveloped economies. Okay, low per capita income means that individual income is less. Examples of underdeveloped countries are sub-Saharan Africa, Bangladesh, then Myanmar, then Pakistan, Indonesia, etc. They are also termed as undeveloped countries or backward nations or third world nations. Okay, these are all the undeveloped countries or backward nations or third world nations. Next one is Indian economy. Okay, GDP growth rate, that is top 10 countries by GDP, that is in the year 2016, source that is IMF. Okay, in x-axis they are given that country's name, then y-axis that is billion dollar. Indian economy is the seventh largest economy of the world, being one of the top listed countries. In terms of industrialization and economic growth, India holds a robust position with an average growth rate of 7%. Okay, in this we are having the top 10 countries, that is first one is United States, China, Japan, German, United Kingdom, France, India, Italy, Brazil and Canada. Okay, India is the 7th place. Even though the rate of growth has been sustainable and comparatively stable, there are still signs of backwardness. Okay, here some countries are having the signs of backwardness, that is not growing in a proper way. Okay, now we can see the features of a developed economy. First one is high national income, high per capita income, high standard of living, full employment of resources, dominance of industrial sector, high level of technology, high industrialization, high consumption level, high level of urbanization, smooth economic growth, social equity, gender equality, and a low level of poverty, political stability, and good governance. These are all the features of a developed economy. The diametrically opposite features of Indian economy are discussed below in detail. Now we can see the features of that Indian economy. Okay, strengths of Indian economy, that is India has a mixed economy. Indian economy is a typical example of mixed economy. This means both private and public sectors coexist and they function smoothly. Okay, here that is both the private and also the public sector. Private means that is individual, public means that is the government. On one side, some of the fundamental and heavy industrial units are being operated under the public sector, while due to the liberalization of the economy. Okay, that is fundamental and heavy industrial units. Fundamental means that is basic, heavy industrial units means that large industries. Okay, due to the liberalization of the economy. Liberalization means that is free trade. The private sector has gained importance. This makes it a perfect model for public-private partnership. Okay, this makes it a perfect model for public-private partnership. Who is having partnership? Public and also the private. Public means who is here? That is the government. Private means that individuals. Next one is agriculture plays the key role. Agriculture being the maximum pursued occupation in India, it plays an important role in its economy as well. Around 60% of the people in India depend upon agriculture for their livelihood. In fact, about 17% of our GDP today is contributed by the agricultural sector. Okay, which one is the important sector? That is agriculture. Okay, 60% of the peoples are depend upon agriculture for what? For their livelihood. Okay, 17% of our GDP today is contributed by the agricultural sector. Green revaluation, evergreen revaluation, and invention in biotechnology have made agriculture self-sufficient and also surplus production. Okay, green revaluation and also evergreen revaluation. Okay, all the time it will have that green revaluation and inventions in biotechnology. Okay, these are all the factors of that sufficient and also the surplus production. The export of agricultural products such as fruits, vegetables, spices, vegetable oils, tobacco, animal skin, etc. also add to forex earnings through international trading. Okay, forex earning means that is foreign exchange. Okay, through what are all the commodities? That is vegetables, fruits, spices, vegetable oils, tobacco, animal skin, etc. An emerging market. Emerging means joined together. India has emerged as vibrant economy, sustaining stable GDP growth rate even in the midst of global downtrend. This has attracted significant foreign capital through FDI and FII. India has a high potential for prospective growth. This also makes it an emerging market for the world. Okay, emerging market means that is joined together. That is foreign capital through FDI and also the FII. This is also makes it an emerging market for the world. Emerging economy, that is world nation in G20. Okay, what are all the G20 countries? That is Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, European Union, France, Germany, India, then Indonesia, Italy, Japan, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, South Korea, Turkey, United Kingdom, then United States. Emerging as a top economic giant among the world economy, India bags the 7th position in terms of nominal gross domestic product and the third in terms of the purchasing power parity. As a result of rapid economic growth, Indian economy has a place among the G20 countries. Okay, out of G20 countries, India is in the 7th place. Okay, based on what? Based on our GDP, that is gross domestic product, and the third in terms of the purchasing power parity. Purchasing means that is ability to buy. Okay, that is based on our willingness, we are having the ability to buy the commodity. Okay, out of how many countries? That is G20 countries. Next one is fast growing economy. India's economy is well known for high and sustained growth. It has emerged as the world's fastest growing economy in the year 2016 to 2017 with a growth rate of 7.1% in the GDP next to People's Republic of China. Okay, fast growing economy. How is the economy? It is growing very, very fastly in the year 2016 2017 with a growth rate of 7.1% in the GDP next to People's Republic of China. Okay, after that, China, it was 7.1 percentage. GDP means already you know the expansion, that is gross domestic product. Gross means total, domestic means within the country, product means that commodities. Fast growing service sector. The service sector contributes a lion's share in the GDP in India. There has been a high rise growth to the technical sectors like information technology, BPO, etc. Okay, in this field, they are increasing a lot, that is information technology and also the BPO. These sectors have contributed to the growth of the economy. These emerging service sectors have helped the country go global and helped in spreading its branches around the world. Okay, go global means that is worldwide. Large domestic consumption. With the faster growth rate in the economy, the standard of living has improved a lot. Okay, fast growth rate in the economy. The economy is increases means the standard of living also will be increase. This in turn has resulted in rapid increase in domestic consumption in the country. The standard of living has considerably improved and lifestyle has changed. Okay, rapid increase in domestic consumption in the country. Rapid increase means very fast increase in the domestic consumption. Domestic consumption means within our country. Okay, the standard of living has considerably improved and lifestyle has changed. Okay, which one is increases? That is standard of living. Okay, improved and lifestyle has changed. Lifestyle has changed means they are affording all the comfortable goods. Next one is rapid growth of urban areas. Urbanization is a key ingredient of the growth of any economy. There has been a rapid growth of urban area in India after independence. Improved connectivity in transport and communication, education and health have speeded up the pack of urbanization. Urbanization means we have to convert that rural area into urban area, that is called as urbanization. Okay, so here which are all the things are improved here fast, that is transport and communication, education and health. Next one is stable macroeconomy. The Indian economy has been projected and considered as one of the most stable economies of the world. The current year's economic survey represents the Indian economy to be a heaven of macroeconomic stability, resilience and optimism. Stable means that is there is no change all the time, it will have the same amount. Okay, that is called as stable. Okay, heaven of macroeconomic stability, resilience and optimism. According to the economic survey for the year 2014-15, 8% plus GDP growth rate has been predicted, with actual growth turning out to be a little less. That is 7.6 percentage. Okay, what is the percentage they wanted to achieve in the year 2014-2015? That is 8 percentage, but how much they achieved? Only 7.6 percentage. This is a clear indication of a stable macroeconomic growth. Next one is demographic dividend. Okay, that is 232 million. Youth population of India is nearly equal the total population of 18 Western Asian countries in the year 2011. The human capital of India is young. This means that India is a pride owner of the maximum percentage of youth. Okay, we are having more amount of youth, that is youngsters. The young population is not only motivated but skilled and trained enough to maximize the growth. Thus, human capital plays a key role in maximizing the growth prospects in the country. Also, this has invited foreign investments to the country and outsourcing opportunities too. Okay, that is human capital. Human capital means that is human being. Okay, based on that education only, we are saying that is the human capital. This has invited foreign investments to the country and outsourcing opportunities too. Okay, foreign investments. Foreign investments means through that youth, what they are doing, they are attracting the foreign investment to the India, that is our country. Okay, and also we are having that outsourcing opportunities also. Weakness of Indian economy. Before that we saw that features and now we are going to see that weakness of Indian economy. First one is large population. Okay, India stands second terms of size of population next to China, and our country is likely to overtake China in near future. Okay, so first one is the China, after that only India. In future we will be in the first. In what? In that population growth. The population growth rate of India is very high, and this is always a hurdle to growth rate. The population growth rate in India is as high in that is 1.7 per thousand. The annual addition of population equals the total population of Australia. Okay, how much? That is out of 1000, that is 1.7. The annual addition of population equal the total population of Australia. Inequality and poverty. There exists a huge economic disparity in the Indian economy. Disparity means that is differences. The proportion of income and assets owned by top 10 percentage of Indians goes on increasing. This had led to the increase in the poverty level in the society, and still a higher percentage of individuals are living below poverty line. Okay, higher percentage of individuals are living below poverty line. Below poverty line means that people are very poor. As a result of unequal distribution of the rich become richer and poor becomes poorer. Okay, here rich people only rich, poor people only poor. Increasing prices of essential goods. Even though there has been a constant growth in the GDP and growth opportunities in the Indian economy, there have been steady increase in the prices of essential goods. Okay, there have been steady increase in the prices of essential goods means that is basic goods. The continuous rise in prices erodes the purchasing power and adversely affects the poor people. Whole income is not protected. Okay, purchasing power. Purchasing power means already I told that is ability to buy. Okay, it will affect to whom? To the poor people, which income is not protected. Okay, whose income is not protected means that is not safeguarded. Weak infrastructure. Even though there has been a gradual improvement in the infrastructural development in the past few decades, there is still a scarcity of the basic infrastructure like power, transport, storage, etc. Okay, infrastructure. Infrastructure means if we wanted to do anything means first of all we must need all the commodities, that is called as infrastructure. Here that is in our country, what are the basic infrastructure? That is power, transport, storage, etc. Inadequate employment generation. While with the growing youth population, there is a huge need of the employment opportunities. The growth in production is not accompanied by creation of job. The Indian economy is characterized by jobless growth. Okay, inadequate employment generation. Inadequate means not sufficient. Okay, every year the graduates are more, then too there is no proper employment opportunity. So the Indian economy is characterized by jobless growth. Outdated technology. Outdated means that is old. The level of technology in agriculture and small scale industries is still outdated and obsolete. Okay, outdated means they are using only the old technology, not adapting the new technology. Demographic trends in India. Scientific study of the characteristics of population is known as demography. The various aspects of demographic trends in India are size of population, rate of growth, birth and death rates, the density of population. Okay, demographic trends are related to what? That is size of population, Rate of growth, birth and death rates, and density of population. Size of population means the amount of population. Rate of growth means how it is increased. Birth and death rate means how much of the birth and also the how much of the death. Density of the population means totally how many people are settled in the per square meter. Sex ratio means how many male and also how many female. Life expectancy at birth. Life expectancy means, for example, Indians will live up to 65 years. That is called as life expectancy. Literacy ratio, that is educational ratio. Size of population, okay, that is population growth. Census year, that is in the year 1901 to 2011. Population in crores, okay, in 1901 it was 23.84. Every 10 year it was increases up to 121.02. Average annual growth rate, that is 0.56 to 1.66. Over a period of 100 years, India has quadrupled its population size. In terms of size of population, India ranks second in the world after China. India has only about 2.4% of the world geographical area and contributes less than 1.2% of the world's income, but accommodates about 17.5% of the world population. Okay, over a period of 100 years, that is, India ranks second in the world after China. Okay, the percentage was 2.4 to 1.2, then it was in 17.5. In other words, every sixth person in the world is an Indian. In fact, the combined population of just two states, namely Uttar Pradesh and Maharashtra, is more than the population of United States of America, the third most populous country of the world. Okay, the two states in India, that is Uttar Pradesh and also the Maharashtra. Some of the states in India have larger population than many countries in the world. Okay, some of the states in India have larger population than many countries in the world compared to the world. Okay, in India, that is two countries. What are the two countries? That is Uttar Pradesh and also the Maharashtra. The negative growth during 1911 to 21 was due to rapid and frequent occurrence of epidemics like cholera, plague and influenza and also famines. Okay, negative growth in the year 1911 to 21, that is diseases, that is cholera, then plague and influenza and also famines. The year 1921 is known as the year of the Great Divide for India's population as population starts increasing. Okay, in the year 1921 it is called as the year of Great Divide. Okay, so India's population as population starts increasing. During 1951, population growth rate has come down from 1.33 percentage to 1.25 percentage. Hence, it is known as year of small divide. Small divide when it was in the year 1951. First, it was in 1921, then 1951. In 1961, population of India started increasing at the rate of 1.96 percentage, that is 2 percentage. Hence, 1961 is known as year of population explosion. In the year 2001, the population of India crossed 1 billion mark. Okay, in 1961, it was called as year of population explosion. In 2001, the population of India crossed 1 billion mark. The 2011 census reveals the growth of youth population, which is described as demographic transition. Okay, that year 2011, it was described as demographic transition. Okay, birth rate and death rate. Crude birth rate, that is, it refers to the number of births per thousand of population, that is called as birth rate. Next, crude death rate, it refers to the number of death per thousand of population, that is called as crude death rate. Crude birth and death rates of India during various years, that is birth rate and also the death rate. Okay, year that is 1951, the crude birth rate is 39.9, then crude death rate, that is 27.4. In 2001, that is 25.4. In crude death rate, that is 8.4. 2011, that is 21.8. Then crude death rate is 7.11. Birth rate was 39.9 in 1951. It fell to 21.8 in 2011. Although the birth rate has declined, the decline is not so remarkable. The death rate has declined from 27.4 in 1951 to 7.1 in 2011. However, from the data, it is clear that the fall in birth rate is less than that of death rates. Okay, so which one is clear? Fall in death rate is less than the death rates. Kerala has the lowest birth rate and Uttar Pradesh has the highest birth rate. West Bengal has the lowest death rate and Orissa has the highest. Among states, Bihar has the highest decaded growth rate of population, while Kerala has the lowest growth rate. The four states, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh, called BIMARU states, have very high population. Okay, Kerala, that is lowest birth rate, and Uttar Pradesh has the highest birth rate. West Bengal has the lowest death rate. Orissa has the highest. Okay. Next, the four states Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh, called BIMARU states, have very high population. Okay, these states are having very high population. Next, we can see the density of population. It refers to the average number of persons residing per square kilometer. It represents the man-land ratio as the total land area remains the same. An increase in population causes density of population to rise. Okay, density, that is the mass. Okay, how it is? It represents the man-land ratio as the total land area remains the same. An increase in population causes density of population to rise. Now we can see the density of population equal to total population divided by land area of the region. How we can calculate the density of population? That is total population divided by land area of the region. Okay, now we can see the density of population, that is in the year 1951. Density of population is 117. Then 2001 it was 325. Then 2011 it was 382. Just before independence, the density of population was less than 100, but after independence, it has increased rapidly from 117 in 1951 to 325 in 2001. According to 2011 census, the present density of population is 382. Thus, the pressure of population on land has been rising. Kerala, West Bengal, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh have density higher than the India's average density. Bihar is the most densely populated state in the country with 1,102 persons living per square kilometer, followed by West Bengal with 880. Arunachal Pradesh has low density of population of only 17 persons. Okay, per square kilometer, how many people are settled? No, that is called as density of population. Okay, that is in Bihar, how many people? That is 1,102 persons per square kilometer. Next, in West Bengal, that is 880. Then Arunachal Pradesh, that is only 17. Okay, next one is sex ratio. It refers to the number of females per 1,000 males. It is an important indicator to measure the extent of prevailing equality between males and females at a given point of time. Sex ratio means now we have to see that both, that is a male and also the female. Okay, that is the census year 1951. Sex ratio, number of females per 1,000 males, that is 946. Then 2001 933, then 2011 that is 940. In India, the sex ratio is more favorable to males than to females. In Kerala, the adult sex ratio is 1,084 as in 2011. The recent census, that is the year 2011, shows that there have been a marginal increase in sex ratio. Haryana has the lowest sex ratio of 877 among other states, while Kerala provides better status to women as compared to other states. with 1084 females per 1000 males. Okay, how many males and also how many females, that we have to see here. Okay, in Kerala only the females are more. Haryana has the lowest sex ratio, that is only 877. Okay, while Kerala provides better status to women as compared to other states with 1084 females per 1000 males. Next one is life expectancy by at birth. It refers to the mean expectation of life at birth. Life expectancy has improved over the years. Life expectancy is low when death rate is high and or instance of early death are high. Okay, life expectancy means how long they will be live in the world. On the other hand, life expectancy is high when death rate is low and our instances of early death are low. Okay, life expectancy are low. Now we can see that life expectancy, first one is year, next one is male, next one is female, then overall. In 1951, male is 32.5, female is 31.7, overall 32.1. In 1991, that is 58.6 and 59.0, then 58.7. In 2001, the male is 61.6, then female 63.3, then overall 62.5. In 2011, that is 62.6, then 64.2, then 63.5. During 1901, 1 to that is 1911, life expectancy was just 23 years. Okay, they will live only 23 years. After that, they will die. It increased to 63.5 years in 2011. Okay. A considerable fall in death rate is responsible for improvement in the life expectancy of birth. However, the life expectancy in India is very low compared to that of developed countries. Okay, in 2011 it was 63.5 years. Okay. However, the life expectancy in India is very low compared to that of developed countries. Compared to developed countries in India, the birth rate is very low. Literacy ratio. It refers to the number of literate as a percentage of the total population. In 1951, only 1/4 of the males and 1/12 of the females were literates. Thus, on an average, only 1/6 of the people of the country were literates. In 2011, 82% of males and 65.5% of females were literates, giving an overall literacy rate of 74.4%. When compared to other developed countries and even Sri Lanka, this rate is very low. Okay, literacy ratio. Literacy ratio means that is educational level. Okay, that time we have to see that both male and also the female. In 2011, that is 82% of male and 65.5% of female were literates, giving an overall literacy rate of 74.04%. Okay, that is in the year 2011. When compared to other developed countries and even Sri Lanka, this rate is very low. Okay, in Sri Lanka, the literacy ratio is less. Okay, now we can see that literacy ratio, that is census year 1951 to 2011, literate persons, that is educated people, male and also female. In 1951, 18.3, 27.2, then 8.9. In 2001, that is 64.8, 75.3, then 53.7. Then 2011, 74.04, then 82.1, then 65.5. Okay, Kerala has the highest literacy ratio, then followed by Goa, then Himachal Pradesh, then Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. Bihar has the lowest literacy ratio in 2011. Next, we can see that natural resources. Any stock or reserve that can be drawn from nature is a natural resource. The major natural resources are land, forest, water, mineral and energy. Natural resources means no need to pay money. It is the gift of nature. Okay. India is rich in natural resources, but majority of the Indians are poor. Nature has provided with a diverse climate, several rivers for irrigation and power generation, rich minerals, rich forest, and diverse soil. Okay, in India, that is diverse climate means different climate. Then several rivers for irrigation and power generation. The rivers are used for what? For irrigation and also the power generation. Rich minerals, a rich forest, and a diverse soil. Okay, we are having large amount of minerals and also we are having large forest and also diverse soil, different types of soil. Types of natural resources, renewable resources. Next one is non-renewable resources. First one is renewable resources. Resources that can be regenerated in a given span of time. Example, forest, wildlife, wind, biomass, tidal, hydro energies, etc. These are all the renewable resources. Next one is non-renewable resources. Resources that cannot be regenerated. Example, fossil fuels, coal, petroleum, minerals, etc. Next one is land resources. In terms of area, India marks 7th in the world with a total area of 32.8 lakh square kilometer. It accounts for 2.42% of total area of the world. In absolute terms, India is really a big country. However, land mean ratio is not favorable because of the huge population size. Okay, land resources, that is 32.8 lakh square kilometer. It accounts for 2.42% of total area of the world. Okay, land man ratio is not favorable because of the huge population size. Which one is very high here? That is population. According to agricultural census, the area operated by large holdings has declined and the area operated under marginal holdings has increased. This indicates that the land is being fragmented and become ineconomic. Okay, large holdings means that captures. Okay, marginal holdings means that is less. This indicates the land is being fragmented and become ineconomic. Fragmented means that is scattered in one place to another place. Next one is forest resources. India's forest cover in 2007 is 69.09 million hectare, which constitutes 21.02% of the total geographical area. Of this, 8.35 million hectare is very dense forest, then 31.90 million hectare is moderately dense forest, and the rest 28.84 million hectare is open forest. Okay, forest resources. Forest resources means we are getting the resources from forest. Okay, that is 69.9 in 2007. Okay, then 21.02% of the total geographical area. Of this, 8.35 million hectare is very dense forest. Very dense means the forest is very thick. Okay, 31.90 million hectare is moderately dense. Moderately means not very dense. Okay, and the rest 28.84 million hectare is open forest. Open forest means we will have some gap. Important mineral resources, iron ore. India possesses high quality iron ore in abundance. Abundance means it is large. The total reserves of iron ore in the country are about 14.630 million tons of hematite and 10,619 million tons of magnetite. Hematite iron is mainly found in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, then Goa and Karnataka. The major deposit of magnetite iron is available at western coast of Karnataka. Some deposits of iron ore are also found in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. We are having two. The two are in our country itself, that is in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Goa and Karnataka. Next one is in western coast of Karnataka. Then some deposits of iron ore are also found in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. Next one is coal and lignite. Coal is the largest available mineral resource. India ranks third in the world after China and USA in coal production. The main centers of coal in India are the West Bengal, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha, and Andhra Pradesh. Bulk of the coal production comes from Bengal, Jharkhand coal fields. Okay, coal and also lignite in the worldwide, that is in China and USA. In India, that is West Bengal, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Odisha, and Andhra Pradesh. Bulk of the coal production comes from Bengal, Jharkhand coal fields. Bulk means that is very large. Okay. Bulk of the coal production comes from where? That is Bengal, Jharkhand coal fields.